Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am starting a reading vlog, although I'm questioning the general reasoning of starting this reading vlog today because I am sick again as of today, and it's not a great feeling. I think it's just a head cold. So this was fun because today I actually had to present at work. I was leading the first half of a curriculum day for staff on writing conferences, and I had to present, and I could, barely breathe or think properly or any of that. And the day before that, I was also leading a workshop for not my school staff, but for staff from across the state, a little small group. But 2 days in a row, I'm exhausted. And then the night before that, we also had a consultant come out to run PL for us. So I've literally done nothing but PL for the last 2 and a bit days. And on Monday, I have another day of professional learning. So my brain is full. But yeah, I thought I would start this vlog because I'm excited about it. And I'll tell you my other exciting news in a minute. But this is a reading vlog. I used to do these all the time where I would have friends pick books for me to read and I would just read and react to them. It's like my friends Choose My TBR, and they're still my favorite vlogs to film, and I haven't done them for ages. I think I have an entire playlist. If I do, I will leave it linked on the screen. But if I sound weird for the first part of this video, because this is going to be filmed over multiple days and probably over a couple of weeks, I will hopefully be sounding better in future clips. Anyway, Robin has recommended me some books. She has given me a list of, I think it's 5 books, and I'm going to start reading them tonight. She has recommended me The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane, which I have a physical copy of. I'm just being too lazy and I'm not going to pick it up off the floor because it's like over there. We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian, who I have read and enjoyed before. A Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker, which I like K.A. Tucker, but this is fantasy and we know how I feel about fantasy, but we are going to give this a good try. There is The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston, and the one that I'm going to start with, because of course I am, because it's Tegan Hunter, is Let's Get Textual, which I have actually owned for a really long time. I just haven't read it, and then I just, whipped through the Carolina Comet series. Sorry, the camera kept going out of focus. Anyway, I love the Carolina Comet series. I need something light, fluffy and funny, and that's why we're going with Tegan Hunter tonight, because I've already DNF'd a book before this, and then I just went, you know what, let's just go with something that I know I'm really excited to read. I do not need this to be the world's greatest piece of literature. I need it to entertain me because I want to read. I need to read. Like this is I need something that I know I'm going to just fall into and enjoy. And that's where we are. So that's the start of this reading vlog. The other exciting news is my sister had her baby this week on Wednesday night. So I'm filming this on Friday the 11th of August. So my niece was born on the 9th at 10:18. She is absolutely adorable and beautiful. I got to meet her for about 20 minutes last night. She's very tiny and just the sweetest little precious bean ever. So yay. Like that was the highlight of my week. But it feels like this week has just gone on forever, and there's just been so much going on, and I've not been feeling 100%, and now we are culminating in this. So I know I can't be that bad because this is my personality at the minute. I'm not sore or anything like that. I'm not tired. Well, I'm tired, but I'm not sleepy tired. I just want to sit on the couch and do nothing tired. So yes, this is reading time. So we're going to start with Let's Get Textual, and we are going to hope that this start of the vlog goes better than my previous vlogs recently, where yeah, we're not DNFing. We're putting that out into the universe. We're having a good time. I probably should also say, like, I have a lot in common with a lot of my friends in terms of reading taste, but I feel like Robin and I probably overlap on the most variety of books that we read, typically speaking. So I'm very hopeful here because yeah, we typically like the same books, generally speaking. That gives me hope. All right, so I'm a quarter of the way through the book. I'm loving it. Most of it so far has been text messages between these two who, meet randomly because someone texts the wrong number, and it's ridiculous. There are baby goats being discussed. There's a whole lot of flirting. This is what I want tonight, but I needed to stop and get some water. So now we have chia seed water. I honestly probably should have put some hydrolyte in here, but that might be my next drink. I'm just gonna see if I can get through this first. Okay, so I'm like 66% of the way in the book, and I feel like I should probably stop and explain what the hell is going on with this book. So you have Delia and Zach, and their meet cute, unintentional meet cute, is when Zach texts Delia, but it's a wrong number. She thinks it's her brother who has just gotten another new number, and so she treats it like such, and then, they have this reveal where it turns out that Zach is not, in fact, her brother, and the two just begin this really cute flirting relationship, and it is adorable, like utterly adorable and silly and ridiculous and just plain fun. He figures out that she really likes baby goats. He ends up getting a baby goat, and that is Marshmallow, who is just precious in this book. The one thing I will say though, at the start of the book, Delia breaks up with her boyfriend. It's very amicable. They are still friends. I am pretty sure that Zach is her ex-boyfriend's older stepbrother. So I'm pretty sure that reveal is going to come in a little bit, because otherwise there's a lot of lead up for something that may or may not happen, but I'm pretty sure this is where we're going. Anyway, I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying it. This was a good choice for a Friday night. Okay, I'm actually glad to have been wrong, because it's not Caleb, her ex-boyfriend, who is the brother. It is one of his teammates who went out on a date with her roommate and best friend. This makes me feel better. So I loved it. It was great. It was really fun, just light, easy reading. I will say content warning in here for a naked photo being sent out without the owner's permission and there being fallout from that. But aside from that, this was just really enjoyable and fun and just what I needed on a Friday night. So I will check in when I decide to pick up the next book. Hi everyone. I still sound awful and sort of still feel awful, but I'm alive, and that is the most important thing. And I am going to start reading The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane, which, to be honest, is a book I have been meaning to pick up for ages, but because everyone loves it, I keep putting it off. So yeah. Thank you, Robin, for the push. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to use these 2 colour tabs to annotate it. And yes, I'm just going to stay on the couch and read because I feel rubbish. So I'm about 70 pages in. I'm really enjoying it, and I feel so bad for Charlie, who has social anxiety and is on a reality dating TV show, and it is not going well. And Dev is his handler, and I love them both already. But the reason I'm stopping is because they're referencing one of my favourite TV shows in here. There is an Expanse reference because Charlie is a tech genius and loves sci-fi. So automatically, I'm just very, very happy with this because no one ever references The Expanse in their romance books, and it's great. So I finished The Charm Offensive and I loved it. It was great. So we have Dev, who is a producer. Oh my god, I can't speak. We have Dev, who is a producer on a reality dating TV show, and his job is to, at the start of the book, he is the handler for the contestants, for the women on the show. But it turns out that Charlie, who is the hero, is having some issues, and he's reassigned as Charlie's handler, and to make him feel more comfortable on screen. And so they spend a lot of time getting to know one another. Charlie has OCD, he has I think generalized anxiety disorder and panic attacks, and he is also questioning his sexuality in this book, settling somewhere around demisexual-ish. Like, he never really fully, you know, figures it out, particularly on page, just that he's in love with Dev. Dev is coming off a recent breakup with his partner of 6 years, who also is a producer on the show. Oh my god, why can't I say that word? I'm blaming brain fog. They're forced into all of these situations and just spending time with one another. And it's really sweet because it's complicated by the fact that everyone has signed contracts, and at the end Charlie has to propose to one of the women, and things get very, very complicated. It hits the same sort of beats as most of the reality dating romance books that I've read, and no, I could 100% absolutely not watch this on TV at all. I think I've talked about how I can't watch reality TV. It just stresses me out and gives me secondhand embarrassment too much. The way that Alison Cochrane just hits all of the beats, and how there is a really wonderfully diverse queer cast of characters who are all dealing with what is happening on this show, particularly addressing how people deal with mental health. Dev also has depressive episodes on page, and how some of the characters recognize this and try and support it, and how others are just horrifically, blatantly horrible about the whole thing. And it really opens up questions around, well, what do you actually want to see in reality TV? Anyway, I really liked it. There's some really great side characters in here, and it was really fun. But now I'm really tired, so I think I need to go and have a nap. I'm so tired.
Hi guys, so we are back with the next book on Robin's list, The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I've not actually read any Ashley Poston books before, and I'm excited about this one. This one reminds me a little bit of the film The Lake House, in that these two characters meet, but there is 7 years time difference between them. So yes, I also think that apparently I may need tissues, maybe? I don't know. But anyway, I have chosen my coloured sticky tabs to match the book, and we are going to start reading. Okay, so I'm like a third of the way into The 7 Year Slip, and I'm really enjoying it. The writing style is fantastic. It is a single POV, and we are following Clementine, who has inherited her aunt's apartment in New York, and she grew up idolizing her aunt, and she just thought she was the most wonderful person who traveled the world and did whatever she wanted. And her aunt had told her when she was younger that the apartment was magical and that it was a secret, and that every now and then people in the apartment would be transported 7 years into the past. And it was always 7 years, and in the current day Clementine works as a publicist for a book publishing company, and her aunt has passed away in the last 6 months, so she's still dealing with the grief of that. But she's moved into the apartment, she's trying to make it her own. She goes to sleep one night, and then when she wakes up the next morning, there is a guy in her apartment, and she realizes that she is 7 years in the past in the apartment, and that this guy isn't going anywhere. His name is Ewan, and well, I think it's Ewan, and he is a chef. Now there is a sneaky hint in the first chapter as to who this guy might actually be in the present day. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. The writing style is great. I'm having fun tabbing it up. I'm worried I'm going to run out of tabs. I decided to go with a bit of a color coding system for this one, just because I kind of knew what I was getting into with this one, just in terms of I actually read the synopsis and some reviews and stuff. So red is relationship stuff, yellow is just general things I find interesting, and blue are quotes that I really like. So we're gonna try that out for size with this. I'm gonna keep reading. Okay, not me over here dying of laughter at this phrase, but I barely had a second to pee because an adult subscription book box decided to feature one of our celebrity memoirs alongside a bar of soap in the shape of an unmentionable, complete with a sucker on the back to stick to the bathroom wall, and I spent the entire afternoon putting out that fire. I remember that debacle so clearly. It was hilarious, and to read it in a book just made me laugh out loud. This is a very clever book. I loved it, and I didn't cry, which I was worried I was going to. I will say this one does have a content warning for a loved one who does commit suicide, so be aware of that going into the book. But it is so clever because Clementine and Ewan keep meeting in and out of time. And yes, it is definitely a Lake House slash Doctor Who river situation sort of thing going on, but it's just so interesting how it's done and how all of the pieces fit together. Like, this is why I don't write stories. My brain doesn't work this way, and so when I read it, it makes me really happy because somebody else thought of this. Someone else came up with this idea and executed it really well with characters that I was deeply invested in. And look, is the majority of the story Clementine really figuring out who she is and what she wants? Yes, but the romance is in there as well, and it is great. This is wonderful. If you haven't read it, highly recommend. Good side characters, great friendship group, but just the way that Clementine and Ewan keep coming back to each other. Also, there's lots of descriptions of food. Have snacks handy. Loved it. This is probably going to need to go into my annotation list with my little TBR cards for annotating, because I really badly wanted to stop and write notes the whole way through, but I prefer to do that on reread because then I can have time to think about it. But thanks, Robin, this is great. I am going to read the next book that Robin recommended, A Fate of Wrath and Flame, which admittedly I was going to make this one the last one because of all of the books. This is the one I'm most apprehensive about because I am not a fantasy romance girly. So at least not anymore. So a bit apprehensive about this one, but we are going to try it anyway. It is very grey and overcast outside. I have finished filming and editing for the day. I'm a little bit more blocked up than I was yesterday, so I'm just gonna take it easy. I don't have anywhere to be. I have my tabs picked out just to finish off some colours, and yeah, we're gonna read I'm doing laundry, sorry, that will be in the background as per usual, as we multitask around here. I'm 10 pages in and I'm already confused. This is why I don't read fantasy anymore. Okay, I'm gonna continue. I'm sorry in advance, Robin. I am this far into the book. It is about a quarter of the way through. It's about 120 pages. And I think it's not for me. And what is a reading vlog for me at the moment without a DNF in it? So I'm gonna put this one down, which is fine because it's interesting because I've read K.A. Tucker before and I quite like her writing style, and I don't dislike the writing style in here, except for Sophie's chapters. I find them really hard to read, and that's just because of the type of character that Sophie is. So essentially we have a thief, Remeria, who goes by a different name, who is bound to a mafia-esque type character, and she's approached by a woman called Sophie to steal something, but Remeria can't because she is linked with this guy. And then Sophie removes that as an obstacle and tells Remeria that she needs her to help Sophie save her husband. And we know that Sophie and her husband are quite old. We know they have magic. That's the first part of the book, which I struggled to just take in the information. But Elijah is kind of in this endless sleep, and Sophie serves someone called Malachi, and they need to retrieve something in order for Malachi to return Elijah to his body. So Sophie has just been sent to this other world, like it's a fantasy-ish type world. There she discovers that she, or her counterpart there, has killed the parents of the soon-to-be new king of this place. They were in an arranged marriage, and of course he's not very happy about it. I know in a fantasy you need to give time for the world building, but I am not built for that anymore. And that is just a quirk of me and my reading taste, and the fact if you don't hook me in the first 100 pages, it's very unlikely that I will continue to read it. So unfortunately, I think this is going to be a miss for me. The other thing is, I read 100 pages and I haven't put in a single tab, which the one thing, it doesn't even have to be a great book, but I love collecting words and I love collecting phrases, and I got nothing in the first 100 pages. So that's okay, because as I said at the start, this was the one, sorry if you heard one of my neighbors slamming their door. This was one of the books this was the only book in the list that I was kind of apprehensive about, but that's okay because I still have a Cat Sebastian book to read, and I love Cat Sebastian's books. So I know that I'm gonna love that. And really, I have loved everything else that I've read. So if this is the one outlier, it's purely because I am not a fantasy romance girly, and that's fine. I tried it, and I know that I said that I was apprehensive about it, but I genuinely gave it a good go. So it's not like I went into it going, oh, I'm gonna DNF it straight away. I wasn't. I was determined to read it. But yeah, that's okay. Maybe I'll just start the Kate Sebastian book. Why not? Let's just keep this vlog going and see if I can wrap it up today. I'm mentally blanking on what the Cat Sebastian book is called, but that's fine, we'll find it. Question is, do I have it on here already? I thought I did, but maybe I do not. It's not because it's not called Can't Say Goodbye, because that's the Eden Finley book that I read last week. Oh my god. We Could Be So Good. Don't mind me, I'm just having a moment here. And here I was so optimistic that my brain fog was gone. Don't think that's the case at all. So here it is. We Could Be So Good by Kate Sebastian. I'm gonna read this. Okay, so I realized I did not actually wrap up this vlog or talk about my thoughts on We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian. Why is this out of focus? Okay, I will stop turning around. Anyway, so I finished it last night. I really enjoyed it, and you can tell that I must be feeling better because my energy levels are back, people. We're back. Anyway, I really like Nick and Andy's story, and it's kind of adorable. So it is an romance. It is about two guys who work in the newsroom for a newspaper. One is the son of the owner who is being groomed to take over the newspaper, except he is a little bit clueless and sometimes useless at the newspaper. He's not completely useless, but you know, he doesn't quite do things the way that everyone else does. And the other is an Italian-American reporter who is following a police corruption case, which kind of gets him into a bit of trouble throughout the book. And his brother is a cop as well. So it was really interesting because these two start out, they're total opposites, and Nick he doesn't know what to make of Andy, but they really become close friends, and then Andy ends up moving in with Nick when he breaks up with his fiancée, and Nick has feelings for Andy, and Andy has never really thought about having feelings for a guy, and just slowly comes to the realization himself that no, actually he's falling for Nick. And it's lovely. It's set in the 1950s, so there is a lot being done to police queer people, and so Nick and Andy are, you know, they can't be out together in public in that way at all because they could be arrested. But around them they have a really supportive community, and it was lovely. Cat Sebastian never misses. Like, I have not read a bad Cat Sebastian book. And coming from me, because Cat Sebastian writes historical romance, right? I've mostly read her Regency era historical romance, which, coming from me, I'm not a historical romance Regency era person. I love Cat Sebastian's books, and I loved this one, so yeah. It was great. So I mean, when we think about it, the only miss in this entire vlog was a Fate of Wrath and Flame. And that's only because it's a genre that is not really my genre and not something that I have all of the patience in the world for. So it's really not a critique on the book. I just don't pick up fantasy romance anymore. And I would have to be in a really particular mood, or it would have to be an absolute all-time favorite author for me to persist through a fantasy romance. Everything else I read was fantastic. Tegan Hunter book, which, by the way, I'm going to leave a link down in the description, because there is an interview with Tegan Hunter that Kai Carrington Russell did recently, and I was so excited to see it because I think I've talked about this many times. Kai Carrington Russell is an indie Australian romance author who interviews authors and people who work in indie publishing, and she just released an interview with Tegan Hunter, and I'm like, this is amazing. So I'll leave that link down below. And she does talk a little bit about Let's Get Textual and then her hockey romances. So there's that one. The Charm Offensive was amazing. The 7 Year Slip was just, I don't know what I was expecting, but I loved it. We Could Be So Good was amazing. Very successful. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for indulging me and reigniting my love for doing these particular vlogs. So I have since asked a few people to recommend me some books for future vlogs, so they will be coming out in future months. I'm not sure if the next one will be in September. It might be October. Yeah, this was fun and I really enjoyed it. And if you're wondering about why I am so hyperactive tonight, I did go to the hockey. I took my dad, we went to the play-in finals for the Mustangs versus the Brisbane Lightning. The number of times I stumbled over saying that. It was a great game. We won. We're going into the semi-finals. Yay, Mustangs! I'll put in some clips. Anyway, clips inserted here.
Mustangs, number 77, Wisher. And the number one star for today's game, also the Mustangs, number 13, Wyatt.
It was a fun game to watch. And it actually wasn't a sold out seated game, so my dad and I had a whole row, which was great. So I don't know why we didn't spread out, but like, we were comfortable, we weren't squished in. And it's very interesting watching these games now. Now that I know who the players are, like now that I know stuff about the game, when I watch it, it's so fascinating to watch. And also being a finals, people got a bit touchy, a little bit hands-on, more than usual. And it was highly entertaining. But yes, that kind of wraps up this vlog. But yes, thank you for watching. If you have read these books, feel free to chat to me about them down below. Otherwise, feel free to leave, what's a good emoji? Let's look one up. There is a newspaper emoji. Leave a newspaper emoji down below for, you know, in honor of the last book. Otherwise, I hope that wherever you're in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.